welcome to another episode of the Goalkeeper Secrets podcast. And for this episode, I have a special guest with me. I have Brian Rowe, who played at UCLA and played in the MLS for quite a while for teams like the LA Galaxy. And so, yeah, glad to have him on here.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Just to get started, so you're from Chicago, or you're from Illinois?
Yeah, born in Chicago.
Okay.
When I was about 2, we moved out to Oregon.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
I grew up in Eugene, Oregon.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right on. And so, at what age did you start playing soccer?
Probably around, I think 4 or 5 years old was the first team I played on. Started with AYSO back in the day.
Yeah. So you started early.
Yeah, started early. Did all the sports growing up, and as I got a little bit older, probably around 9 or 10, really started playing with club teams and getting a little more focused on soccer.
Okay. Nice. And then when did you decide to be a goalkeeper? Or did you even decide? Was it kind of forced on you?
I think it was kind of forced on me. I think some of my earliest memories were I was the best on the team at goalie, so I was put in that position. And I think because everybody wanted me to play goalie, I wanted to play on the field.
Right.
So I remember always trying to fight against that and just getting upset a lot of times early on that just I had to keep playing goalie. And gosh, I don't even remember at what age it kind of flipped, but probably around 9, 10, 11, I was like, okay, I started enjoying it more, was fortunate enough to have some good coaches early on that knew the position and could kind of run me, and through some actual training.
Right.
That it started to click, and I started enjoying it more.
Nice. So yeah, at what point were you like, okay, I'm a keeper now, and this is what I'm going to do?
That's a good question. I would probably say kind of that probably 10, 11, 12 age range.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still fairly early on. Were you playing club at that point? Were you still?
Yeah, we had by no means were we top club team in the state or competing, but it was our local club team that we would go to some tournaments and compete.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, it's funny comparing it to Trey when I interviewed him. Like, he didn't even become a goalkeeper until high school. You know, like, it's just crazy to think about that. Yeah. You know, like I started playing keeper fairly young as well. I think I was 9 or 10 when I started playing keeper, and then I just never played anything else. It was like that's it. You know? Started in AYSO, but I didn't start playing club until I was 14 or 15. Okay. So I was late to getting into the more competitive side. Yeah. So you played club, and then obviously you play in high school, and then what age were you like, okay, I can play beyond, youth soccer?
I would say probably, that's a good question, probably sophomore year of high school. I did ODP, which is the Olympic Development Program, which really no longer exists, as they have the club academy programs now. Yeah. But I was kind of the last generation of ODP, so I don't even know at what age that started at, but made it on my state team, kind of in those pools, did those tournaments, so got exposure that way. And then I think as I got to kind of sophomore year, my club did some regional tournaments that would be like college showcases. Okay. But I got opportunities with some of two of the bigger clubs in the state, FC Portland and Westside Metros, who were the top teams in the state. Gotcha. And did a few more tournaments, got to guest play with them, and got exposure. And I think that's when I started realizing, okay, got recruited to some schools and realized it could be an opportunity to continue to play after.
Wow. And at those ages, how would you say your, the level of goalkeeper coaching you were getting? Like, were you getting really good coaching to help you, or were you figuring things out on your own?
I think I got really fortunate in those kind of early years. I remember my high school head coach, played goalkeeper at Oregon State, so played through college, and he was able to give me some specific training, probably 8th grade, and then starting obviously in high school as well. And then my club coach around that time as well was the assistant coach, goalkeeper coach at Oregon State. Gotcha. At the time, and he had played goalkeeper through college as well. So I think for me, having two
so you're surrounded
coaches,
by a lot of keepers.
I think that really helps me early on just getting a little better exposure, a little better training at that earlier age.
Right, which
seeing that side.
I feel is crucial.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like one of those necessary things as a goalkeeper is you need that extra training, and you need a goalkeeper-specific coach to work with you and kind of run things through with you, because otherwise, you know, a head coach typically is not going to give you any specific tip. They're just going to be like,
send you to the goal and they tell you to figure it out.
Right, figure it out, and if you make a mistake, you know, they yell at you, but they don't tell you why you made a mistake or how to fix it.
I think I've learned through the years, I mean, obviously everyone, you just mentioned Trey, everyone's got a different path or different set of coaching or ways they come about goalkeeping. But I think for me, it helped really early on, and I was very fortunate to have that guidance at such a formative time in my life when I was starting to develop into a goalkeeper, and obviously it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So then, like you're mentioning, you're getting recruited to colleges, and you end up going to UCLA. So how did that come about?
Yeah, let's see. The final two schools I looked at were Harvard and UCLA. I took 2 official visits to there. For Harvard, my club goalkeeper coach, who was the assistant goalkeeper coach at Oregon State at the time, transferred out to Harvard, and he was recruiting me out there, trying to bring me out there. So that was my connection there. And then UCLA, while I was in ODP, I think regional camp, ended up the goalkeeper coach for UCLA was at the camp.
Okay.
And saw me play, and they kind of just remember sending me a note saying, hey, we'll continue to keep an eye on you, watch you through tournaments, college showcases, and just kind of stayed in touch with them. They were by far probably the 2 best options for school I had. Oregon State was local to me, but I wanted to get out of state.
Right.
And then went and saw UW up in Washington, but they had secured a goalkeeper in my class. I remember taking a visit down to LMU, Pepperdine, a couple smaller schools, Santa Clara, but really it came down to UCLA and Harvard.
Wow. And you obviously chose UCLA. Do you think you made the right decision looking back on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think taking official visits out to both schools, I think living on the West Coast and
especially Southern California compared to the East Coast.
You see the campus, and you can't, the history of the goalkeepers that have gone through the program, the players, the caliber of players that have gone through. It was, it made an easy decision.
Right.
And at the time, my best friend, who I grew up with in Oregon playing with, who was a year older than me, he was playing at UCLA as well.
Oh, wow.
So that helped in the decision.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. So you can go in there and you know someone on the team.
Yeah, exactly.
That's super helpful. What was your overall experience of playing in college? Like, did you enjoy the process, or was there anything that you didn't like about it?
Really enjoyed the process. I would say that first year was really eye-opening to me. Felt like coming from Oregon, being the goalkeeper of the year in the state, and high school we always had a good team that got pretty far in state tournament. All of a sudden going to UCLA, where you're playing with a number of the U20, U23 national team players and some of the top players in the country. Brian Perk was a year ahead of me at the time, and he was with the national team as a goalkeeper. So I remember that first year was, what the heck am I doing?
Right.
Like, I don't belong here.
Right.
I just remember training and playing with them and getting lit up, and just the speed of play was so much faster, the quality was so much better.
Right.
And really just having a bunch of questions that first year of wow, coming from kind of a big fish or a small, big fish to a bigger pond, I guess. But
were any of those questions coming from outside of yourself, like from coaches kind of questioning you, or other players when kind of looking at you like, why is this, or was that just yourself?
That was all internal. I don't remember there being any external kind of comments or forces that were kind of questioning me being there.
Right. It was just your perspective.
I think it was my perspective, and just kind of that growing period that you have, obviously making a big leap like that.
Right. And as goalkeepers, I think we all feel that, like you're going to a tryout, and you're, maybe the talent level is a little bit higher than what you're used to, and you're just like, why, you question yourself, why am I here? But then what you're not seeing is like the outside perspective, which is like the coaches probably saw that, but they could also see your potential and see like, no, he's gonna get it. We just need, obviously everyone needs a little bit of time to adjust and get used to it. but we don't give ourselves that grace period, you know.
Yeah.
So you just have to kind of be fortunate to be in a situation where the coaches see that and give you that opportunity to like grow into it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that, I mean, it hits the nail on the head. It's really giving yourself grace, but also just trusting the process and what got you there, which is hard.
There's a reason why you're there.
There's a reason why you're there. Obviously, someone else saw something in you and is giving you the opportunity. So it's kind of going back to that and just trusting what got you there. And it's easier said than done, trying to drown out all those the negative talk and the voices in your head. It ebbs and flows. You're gonna have days or weeks or games that you're riding a high and everything's good, and other days where nothing's clicking or nothing can go wrong, or you're just a half second late on everything. And it's just kind of going back to trusting in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I want to jump ahead to your professional career. So did you have that in mind? You know, like while you're at UCLA, like, okay, I want to play. I want to go to the next level. Like, was that intentional while you're there?
Yeah, I think. I mean, for me, that was a goal. But I think I'd be lying to say that I was like, I'm going to play professional soccer. Just once I'm done here. I think, like I said, that first year or two didn't get any minutes really, besides spring season games or
but that's pretty standard for college soccer.
Yeah, which is standard. But I don't think I had a perspective past the end of college as to what I wanted to do. I think it was kind of, all right, I'm just taking it day by day and seeing where this goes. And obviously the opportunities kind of presented themselves as my time at UCLA went on.
Right. So I think I read you were the Ventura County Fusion first, and then you got signed from there.
So the Ventura County Fusion was a PDL team, so Premier Development League, non-professional. It was really the summer league.
Right.
When we were not playing in season with UCLA, it was just an opportunity to play with other college kids in the region, just to get games.
Yeah.
So
some experience.
Yeah, that was just more of an opportunity to kind of supplement the games at UCLA, get some more minutes, more time, more experience.
Right. Which is crucial when you're in college, because we all know that the college season is so short. There's not a lot of opportunity to get a lot of games. You know, it's in like 2-3 months span, and then you're done until spring, and those games don't really count. So it's like you really need to get that extra, game experience in.
Yeah,
which is vital for keepers.
Yeah, and that was such a great setup up there. A couple guys on my team, we would commute up to training, play games, and as a goalkeeper, like you said, there's no replication for game experience and game time.
Right.
So being able to just add minutes, add games, get a little more experience just really helped.
Yeah, so you get signed to who'd you get signed to first in MLS?
Yeah, so I after UCLA, after my final year, I went to the combine, MLS combine in Florida. From Florida, my agent had set up a trial in Finland. So I flew over to Finland, was on trial over there. They had the MLS draft while I was over there. I think maybe a week or two after I was over there, and got drafted to Chivas USA.
Okay.
They wanted me to come back right away and start preseason with them. So kind of ended that trial a little bit early. I think for me, an opportunity to come back and play local and be in the MLS was appealing to me. So came back, went into preseason with Chivas on one of the last days of preseason. They decided to sign another goalkeeper instead of me. So dropped me, but at the MLS rules at the time, because they drafted me, they still held on to my rights as a player. And I don't know if this was said explicitly, but it was my understanding that they wanted to potentially try and trade something for me or acquire something for me for my rights for another team. All the other MLS teams had secured the rosters by that time, because it was you need to be roster compliant.
So you're like in limbo.
So was kind of hanging out, continuing to train, waiting to hear from my agent. Went out to the North Carolina Railhawks for a trial. While I was out there, they ended up signing their goalie there, so that was kind of off the table. So it was just kind of hanging out in limbo.
Wow.
And I can keep going.
Yeah, right. So, but even being in that, I think there's a good lesson in there. Is like, because obviously we know the outcome's really good, but in that moment you don't know what's going to happen. So what's the motivation to like keep training and keep working? Like, are people telling you just, keep working, you'll get signed, like don't worry about it? Or is it just yourself being like, I'm just going to keep going and see what happens?
Yeah, I think it was myself and also family. I think my parents have always been very supportive throughout my entire career, whether it be driving me, hours and hours to training each week, and just always kind of providing whatever I needed to be as successful as I could. So obviously coming out of college and not having a job and finances are one thing. So, they just kind of said, hey, we want you to pursue this for as long as you can, or as long as you want to.
Right.
We'll continue to support you, kind of just keep chasing. This is your one opportunity to get in and break in and continue to try and play.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of necessary, especially in that situation. It's like, you need that support from somewhere. But I think, like you said, from yourself, it's like, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm not going to give up just because, these couple of things didn't happen the way I wanted them to. And I think that's something for a lot of young goalkeepers to realize, like, even when they're just trying to try out for a club team or, get recruited to a college team, it's like, if you don't make it to one college team, that doesn't mean you stop. Like, you keep trying out and keep going. Like, if you really want it, you'll get signed, you'll get seen. And it may not be at the level you want right away. You may have to go to like a Division 2 or Division 3 and then, work your way up after that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's one thing I learned, and we'll jump ahead or as we go ahead kind of into that professional career, but seeing everyone's story is different. Where everyone came from, there's no perfect path. There's no great way. There's no proven track or way to get.
And you can't predict it.
You can't predict it. So whether you go to a top 5 college team and you play there and you go on to the pro there, you see guys that go through junior college and you see guys that go, there's just so many different ways to get to kind of that ultimate goal or continue to play.
Absolutely. So eventually you get signed to, what's the first team you get signed to after that?
So I got signed as a pool goalkeeper. So kind of while I was in limbo waiting, got a call from my agent, I think on like a Friday night. He's like, I got some good news and bad news. Said, good news is, I guess for my sake, the good news was the goalkeeper in Toronto had gotten injured. They were down to one goalkeeper. So he's like, Lee's going to sign you as a pool goalkeeper. You got a contract. It's like, bad news is you're going to be on a red eye out to Toronto tonight, and you're going to be on the bench for their game tomorrow. I don't know how long you're going to be there for.
Wow.
So called my girlfriend at the time, and I was just like, hey, I'm leaving to Toronto. Don't know how long I'm going to be there for.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, that was my way into the league, was as a pool goalkeeper.
Gotcha.
There was an injury and just got called to kind of fill in and got my contract that way.
And were you excited about that, or is it kind of like you're almost like scared to be at that level right away without any kind of like leeway into it? No training, you're just like, okay, I'm here.
I think it happened so quickly that it was just no time to think.
Yeah.
It was just kind of, and you don't really know what to expect for that level or that league, or almost kind of what you don't know can't hurt you.
Right.
It's just an opportunity to keep playing, and you're like, all right, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's almost hopeful sometimes when you don't have time to overthink something. You just have to go out and do it.
Yeah, or create that narrative in your head, or it's like, all right, this is what's laid for me right now. Let's attack it.
Yeah, and just be open to it. So awesome. And then you're with them for a certain amount of time, and then what happens after that?
So I was with Toronto for probably, maybe a month as a pool goalkeeper, and then they ended up signing another goalkeeper too, so they were good on depth-wise. And then one of the goalies in Portland, maybe two of the goalies in Portland got injured. So they flew me out to Portland. That's kind of my home base as a pool goalkeeper.
Right.
I was with Portland for another maybe 6 weeks in that time. Got called in with Philadelphia for a game. I think Seattle for a game, all because of injuries.
Right.
And then LA Galaxy ended up trading their third goalkeeper and brought me in and signed me into a first team regular MLS contract.
Awesome. And how stoked were you for that?
Yeah, I mean,
you're like, all right, I can relax.
Yeah, I had a little more stability in my life, had a little more direction just being with a team. And obviously the LA Galaxy at the time were, I mean, they had just won the MLS Cup championship the year prior in 2011. And, I mean, yeah.
A lot of great players on the team.
Yeah.
So did you want to be in SoCal, or you're like, okay, this is great that I'm here? Or were you open to being anywhere in the MLS?
I was open to being anywhere.
Yeah.
Just an opportunity to play was all I was looking for. I mean, wherever it took me, even if it took me back overseas again, if that was where the opportunity was, I was in that stage of my life where I was just, okay, wherever there's an opportunity, we're gonna make it work.
So when you get to the Galaxy and you're signed and you go and start training with the team, is it the same feeling you had when you first stepped into UCLA that first year, or were you like more confident now? You're like, I can handle this speed and this level of play? I
would say more confident, but kind of similar spells of that mental just doubting, kind of being at that level, and if I had what it took to be successful at that level, because it's a whole nother leap going from high school to college, and then obviously college to playing with the likes of David Beckham and Robbie Keane and Landon Donovan day in and day out in training, where you're just you're doing your best, but it's definitely it pushes you each and every day.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine. And so obviously we were talking about it earlier, but the goalkeeper coach there at Galaxy was Ian Fewer, who I know really well as well, from training with him and stuff like that. What was that experience like, working with Ian, and like did that like open things up for you, and did you improve drastically by working with him?
Yeah, I definitely, going back to kind of having coaches at the right time, those kind of formative times in your life, I think getting to work with Ian at that time, at that level, was just kind of exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
His ability to just break down the position, as well as even just the simple movements as a goalkeeper, that makes you efficient, makes you more explosive, just makes you move better.
Not wasting energy.
I think in the mental side with him as well, just learning to be patient and just knowing that I was there for a reason. I think he really came into my career at a perfect time when I needed him, and really helped me continue to develop.
Yeah, absolutely. And touching on the mental side, was there anything, like, were you still at that time in your career, were like, okay, like I have a lot to learn on the mental side of the game. Like there's a lot for me to because you probably had your technique was good. You're a good shot stopper, obviously. If you're at that level, you're good at coming off of crosses, and you're good with your feet. But it's like, okay, the next level is the mental side. Was there anything, like any lessons you learned during that time, or like mental things that really helped you get to the next level?
Yeah, I think always being ready is one. Never knowing when that opportunity is going to come, and sometimes one opportunity is all you get.
Yeah, I've done episodes on that. I call it, even if you're the fourth string keeper, like you come to every training session as if you're the starting keeper. And it's not an attitude thing. It's more of just like you said, yourself mentally inside your own head. You're prepped. You're thinking, I'm starting. I need to get ready for this game.
Yeah.
And not laying back like, oh, I'm the fourth string. I can kind of take it easy, and they got it. I don't need to push myself. But it's really the opposite. Like you should really be pushing yourself to be the starting keeper every training session.
Yeah.
But then also that helps the other keepers as well. You raise your level.
Yeah.
And that's gonna, it raises everyone's level, which you want even though it's like, oh man, I want to, step over that guy, but you still want them to do well, because that's going to help you as well. If they raise their level, you're going to go with it.
Exactly. And I think it's having that mentality of, okay, seeing yourself as a starter and preparing for that opportunity. But I think it's really important. And I had playing with a couple guys that I don't know how to put it the right way, but you want to do it respectfully. Obviously, you want to do it in a way where you're pushing the other guys, being respectful. I think there's a lot of unwritten kind of rules and just kind of standards when it comes to the goalkeeper union and working as a unit and just making sure, okay, whoever's the starter for the week, he gets what he needs and he's prepared and ready for because that's what the team needs him. Kind of stepping in where you need to and where you're needed. But when your opportunity comes to either jump into the extra shooting or the drills, or even just service, just making sure that you are doing everything you can to lift up the other guys. And
Absolutely. Yeah, and coaches notice that.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure Ian noticed that stuff, but even like the head coaches, assistant coaches, they want to see the non-starting keepers pushing themselves in every drill, scrimmage, or whatever, small-sided game. They want to see that from the keepers, from every keeper. They want their job to be hard. They don't want it to be easy. Like, okay, this guy's a starter. If he gets hurt, that guy's definitely the next guy, and that is you know what I mean. They don't want it to be that easy. They want to have to like go back and forth and like really struggle. Like, okay, maybe this keeper is better to go against this team, because he has this skill set. So we'll use him that way, and not just like, no, he's definitely the starter. So having that mentality of like making it tough on the coaches, I think is good as well. But like you said, being respectful about it too. Obviously you're respecting the starter, and there's that pecking order, so to speak. But like I said, in your own head, you can think think like I'm better than him. I'm the starting keeper. You have that mentality, but you're not exposing that to the
especially
starter.
And as you're coming newer into the league, and it goes for the different stages as you progress through your career, but especially being new to the league and the young guy, you got to respect the elders and the veteranness of the team and the players and just the pecking order. And you can come in and just when it's your time to shine and almost through your actions show like, all right, I'm ready for this role, I'm confident. But when it comes to almost the little nuances of I don't know the right way to say it, but just being respectful. Okay, I'm not going to rock the boat. As a player, maybe that's a third or fourth string, you're dispensable. So you want to make sure like, okay, I'm a good team player, I'm going to try and lift up the team, do everything I can to be positive, continue to push the guys in front of me, but through my play I'm going to show why I deserve to be here, and when you guys are looking for somebody, that I'm the next one up.
Like don't whine. Don't be the fourth or third string keeper that's whining and just kind of slacking off. Like I've experienced that coaching in college, and it's like don't. As soon as the coaches see that, they're like, no, we don't, this guy doesn't have it. He's not up for it. But I don't know if you even saw that in the MLS level. But
there's some guys you have come in that you just got to feel it out. I think sometimes there's some starters or goalkeepers or even goalkeeper coaches that like to have, I mean, this is such a silly example, but like as you're doing maybe reps the day before a game or as leading up, like the starting goalkeeper is going to be the first one to get started on things and get started, and not trying to step in front of that or step on toes, trying to show that you want it by jumping in first and being almost overeager. Just kind of being a little socially aware of the situation and kind of what's expected of you, and looking for the opportunities to shine, but also doing things the right way. So
and I think if you're a young goalkeeper listening to this and you're going into high school or going into college, it's like you can feel that out. You can get a sense for what the environment's like, and you can even have a conversation with the other keepers, with the keeper coach, and kind of ask them like, how do you guys like to do it? Especially if you're a young goalkeeper, you're the new keeper walking in. It's like you want to find out what the right way is to do things. You don't want to come in and just try to bolt those over people, because it's not going to go over well.
Show your value and that you're ready through your just how you play and how you prepare yourself and present yourself, and not trying to, I don't know, in the other areas of it, trying to dominate everything else.
What would you say was your biggest challenge being in MLS?
That's a good question. I think just probably just going back to the mental side of it, I think really just it's a long season. A lot of games, a lot of travel, a lot of training, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of decisions or things that are outside of your control.
Right.
So I think just learning to, like, going back to what I said, just trusting in the process and doing things the right way consistently, day in, day out.
Right.
And just, I think for me, it was always, regardless of just what was going on, all right, I'm going to do the best I can with what I have today. Right. I'm going to put in the extra work before, I'm going to put in the extra work after. I kind of had my routine of like, okay, this is whether you're having ups or downs with your training, mentally, whatever, I kind of had my routine every single day that I knew I could stick to. And that was kind of it grounded me. It was like, okay, right, regardless of what's happening, all the other stuff mentally or things going on in my head, it's like, okay, I know I can do this every day to prepare myself to train. Yeah. I'm going to train with whatever I have that day, take care of my body, whatever else I need afterwards, and then day in and day out, it's on the kind of microcosm, you're going to have a lot of potentially ups and downs or just big swings. But as you look over the length of your career, kind of all that consistency, you're building in an upward trajectory. You're building in the right direction.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Consistency and being able to rely on your routine to give you that stability when you may not have, there might be instability in other areas, but if you can rely on your routine to get the extra training in, take care of your body, work on the mental side, study film, do all the things that you can do that you have full control over, and then kind of let go of the things you don't have control over. Because if you just kind of, you get brought down, you get frustrated with things that are out of control, and then you don't have anything else, you just sit in your frustration, it's only going to take you farther down. Like I always say, no one's ever gotten better by being frustrated. It doesn't make you better. It might feel like you're letting your emotions out, which is fine. It's healthy to do that. You get that emotion out, but don't sit in it. It's like, let go of it as soon as it comes up. All right, I'm frustrated. All right, let's let go of that. Let's move on.
And it's I think it's just kind of an old adage. It's easy to do things the right way when you're winning, when you're starting, when things are going your way. Right. It's a lot harder when things are going against you. Yeah,
and it's easy, to kind of slow down or just take the day off, or
you see guys that maybe they're frustrated that the coach chose the other goalie over them, or they're set back because of an injury, or even, there's times where I was going down and playing games with Galaxy 2, and it's like, okay, this is not exactly what I wanted, or it's not ideal, but those are the times where it's like, okay, just it's easy to say, I'm not going to roll out today or stretch, or I'm not going to prepare before, I'm just going to take this drill or this game, whatever. It's not what I want to do. Those are the moments where it's like, okay, I need to just keep doing what I'm doing and trust in the process, and just kind of, you're looking at a bigger picture, and if you continue to do things the right way over time, I've always believed that just everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say was something that really helped you during your time in the MLS from a coach, whether it could be a goalkeeper coach, head coach, assistant coach? Was there ever something that you got information from them that really stuck with you or really helped you through your journey?
I think for me, I think it was Ian talking with him about it, but it was just, like you said, focus on. I'm trying to think of the three things. Maybe it was three things that you can control, which is your attitude, your effort, and what was the third one? I'm blanking on it. Shows how impressionable they were. But it was along those lines of just kind of really focusing on those things and trying your best to let everything else not affect you.
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think.
Oh, your response, your attitude, your effort, and your response to
how you react.
Yeah, react. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. It's probably a lot of coaches wouldn't even say that to you. They just kind of expect you to know that. But with Ian, he'll definitely break that down to you anytime, any age level, skill level, whatever. He's willing to share that information. Maybe some other coaches wouldn't, share that. They're they just want to test you and see how you handle it.
Yeah, even test you, or they just they don't know how to break it down into words, or they've done something they've done something the way they've done it for so long that's the way it should be done, and don't think about, okay, how could this apply to somebody else, or maybe someone else needs a different way of going about it mentally. I mean, everyone learns differently. Everyone responds differently to encouragement or criticism, and it's really such a case-by-case basis.
Right.
Knowing what players respond to, what brings out the best in them, how to lift them up during times of trouble, and really just trying to continue to.
So something I like to ask goalkeepers, especially for you retired. So what would you tell yourself as a younger goalkeeper, let's say you're high school age, now that you've gone through your career and you know everything you know, what would you go back and tell them, like, hey, you know what, you should work on this, or you need to be more focused on this, or you need to, do this differently?
I'd say probably don't stress.
Right.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I think it's something that every player goes through, and it only comes with kind of age, wisdom, experience, and I mean, I still don't have as much as plenty of other guys, but just in my own life, I think putting too much pressure on myself to succeed or perform, when you kind of look back at the reason why you fell in love with the game in the first place when you're a kid, it's just you're out there with your buddies, friends, competing, having fun. And I think as more external pressure gets put on, and even narrative to yourself, that you expect to play a certain way or perform a certain way, or all of these things, you can kind of really put a lot of external pressure or internal pressure on yourself.
Right.
So I think only as I got older and realized, like, you get back to that fun. And it's just like, why am I stressing about this? Like, soccer doesn't define me. It's I enjoy playing soccer because I love the sport. And I love playing with other guys and competing.
Yeah, you don't live and die by it.
Yeah, and I think once for myself personally, I was able to let go of those stresses and just
play.
Just enjoy. Just play. Just have confidence in myself and enjoy my time out there. It's amazing how freeing that is, and it's a tough place to get to.
Right.
Some guys never get there.
Yeah, it's a journey, and also I would say when you do get to that point, it frees you up mentally, where you're not worried about mistakes. You're not worried about what other people are thinking, or what's the coach is he going to bench me if I make a mistake. Yeah. It's like those are all just weights on your shoulder that you don't need. Yeah. And it's just, you just let go of it and just play. But like you said, if your younger self could know that, that's an amazing thing. So like if you're a young goalkeeper listening to this, that's an awesome lesson. Like if you're high school, 15 years old, that's an incredible thing to think about. At that age. Yeah, and it's that balance of doing things the right way and continuing to push and put in that extra work and do everything that's necessary, but at the same time having confidence in yourself without being cocky, and just enjoying the game, just going out there having fun, being a leader, just bring out the best in the rest of your guys. Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Being a leader, like that's definitely part of being a goalkeeper. And you get to a point where you get comfortable in that. You get comfortable in that position of quarterbacking the players, coaching the players in front of you. You pretty much are a coach on the field, because you see the whole field. You can coach forward, and direct players and stuff like that. And it just takes experience, like just being in games and being in different situations, and just being confident in yourself that you're seeing, if you're seeing it and that's your perspective, then that's the right thing to do. Yeah. Even if it ends up you get a bad result, but that doesn't matter. You can learn from that, but you still made the right decision to call out what you did or whatever.
Yeah. Taking in, obviously being able to take in feedback, I think is a big thing too. Yeah. Constructive criticism, knowing that if a coach is telling you something, it's human nature sometimes just to snap back or even just think to yourself like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Right. But just taking it in, kind of chewing it over a little bit, picking what you can out of it, to improve, and then if the rest of it is not worthwhile to you, then just discarding it and learn how to let go of it. Yeah. Because you have head coaches throughout your career that, like, going back to like what you said about high school, that obviously they think goalkeeper is black and white and easy position, and they don't quite understand the nuances or intricacies.
Just save the shot. What do you do?
Yeah. So you have times where there's things said, and it's knowing how to take that in, and not letting it fester, not taking offense to it, and just kind of taking what you can from it, learning, and then just moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, with all that said, if there's anything you would want to say to any young goalkeepers out there listening, what would be something you would tell them?
Yeah, I mean, this will tie in nicely, kind of going back to what you said, with things I learned or at certain points heard that just really were eye-opening to me. When I was with the Galaxy, we had a team psychologist that came in and would do exercises with us, and he kind of said to us, which makes complete sense when you hear it, but I don't think people really think about it, is, am I allowed to cuss or keep beeps up? Okay, he said just have a good shitty day.
Right.
And the way he would always put it is, you're rarely going to be on your A game. Like when it's time to show up for a game, I mean, I can look back at my career and say there was only a handful of games where everything felt like it was clicking 100%, and you're in the zone.
Right, you're in the zone, yeah.
And things feel good, and it's what you always chase. Yep. But rarely do you have that.
Right.
Most of the time you have your B game, even your C game or your D game. And it's, I think at times for me, especially being a goalkeeper, you're expected to be perfect on the day. You only get maybe a handful of touches or opportunities to make a play or have an impact.
Right.
And that's, as being goalkeepers, we pride ourselves on being perfect and doing the best we can on every opportunity we get to impact the game or be helpful.
The way I say it, I've done an episode on it, is goalkeepers, we should strive for perfection and work towards perfection, but don't expect it.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you expect perfection, that's when you get let down and frustrated, and then the mental side kicks in and you're taken out of the game. But if you work for it and you strive for it, but you don't have that expectation to do everything perfect, I think that's a better way to look at it, because then it allows for you to make mistakes. It allows for error, which is human. You're going to make mistakes. You can't escape that, and you shouldn't try to escape it. You should just work to correct it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great point, and it's going into the game, knowing where you are and how you feel. I mean, I remember, especially when you're young and you're getting an opportunity here, an opportunity there, and it just feels like, all right, this is my one chance. And obviously you're going into the game preparing the best you can and hoping you can find that zone and find that A game, and the whistle blows and you're like, man, I'm not feeling great today. Right. Like, my warm-up wasn't great. I wasn't holding things. My angles were a little off. I was getting scored on. Kind of get that talk going before the game, and it's recognizing, okay, how am I feeling today? What was a little bit off? It's like, okay, I wasn't holding anything in warm-ups. All right, maybe first couple of shots, if I just put it, not even try to mess with it, just put it in a good spot and just kind of try to settle into the game. So I think it's kind of, it's working with how you're feeling that day and not trying to fight it, not trying to do anything, but just embracing it and being like, all right, this is what's working for me today. This is what I have today. I'm going to do my best with what I got.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, I think that'll do it. That was awesome. Thanks for coming on the podcast and sharing some gems with us.
Of course. Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
All right, absolutely.